Barsīsā, a great abid, a great worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the previous nations, the nation of Bani Israel. He was respected, he was honored, he was held in high esteem. If people wanted to speak about righteousness, they'll mention Barsīsā. If people wanted to speak about piety, they'll mention Barsīsā. It's Barsīsā. You want an advice? Go and speak to Barsīsā. You want to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Go and seek advice from Barsīsā. It is Barsīsā. And Barsīsā worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 70 years. Ongoing worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regular worship. And regularly in the state of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. 70 years, you could imagine 70 years worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal in a temple, in a place of worship. Just always and constantly in that temple worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one day, the test comes where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to test Barsīsā. So now, 3 righteous brothers, during the time of Barsīsā, he wanted to embark on a journey. And some narrations say he wanted to embark on a journey of jihad to go and fight in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they were held up. They were held up because they had a sister that they needed to take care of. But at the same time, they wanted to please Allah Azza wa Jal and go out in the journey of jihad to fight in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. But their hold up was their sister. They needed a safe place for them to put the sister. They thought about it, they discussed it amongst each other, and they said the only person that we could resort to is Barsīsā. So let's go and speak to Barsīsā. He's the righteous, trustworthy, honorable, pious and upright person. Let's go to Barsīsā.
So they came to Barsīsā. Now look at the trick of Shaytan. Look where it starts, my brother. They came to Barsīsā and said, Barsīsā, we want to go for jihad and we're wondering, can you look after our sister? So Barsīsā immediately says, he says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. This is Shaytan. No way. So the men were disappointed and they left. Then Shaytan came to Barsīsā. He's not Shaytan. Today he's our Sheik. So we'll call him Sheikh Shaytan. So Sheikh Shaytan came to Barsīsā and said, Barsīsā, brother, what are you doing? These men, they want to go for jihad. They're going for good. They're going for the sake of Allah. Barsīsā, if you do not look after her, who's going to look after her? You are the most noble, Barsīsā. You are the most pious man. If they leave her with someone else, what do you think will happen? So Barsīsā says, maybe I should look after her for the sake of Allah. For the sake that these brothers, look at the trick of Shaytan, my brother. When Shaytan knocks on your door, Shaytan does not want you to open it fully. Just a little peep. A little, who is it? That's all he wants. A little crack. That's all Shaytan wants. Shaytan has all the time in the world.
But Barsīsā continued to decline, then he thought about it, and after pressure he gave in. So Barsīsā gave in.
So he calls the brothers back, he says, listen, for the sake of Allah, I will look after your sister, but she will not stay with me. Barsīsā was a man who feared Allah. He was a genuine man who feared Allah, my brothers. Now I want you to think about yourself and relate this story to your life. He says, I will not keep your sister with me. She will stay in the house I have at the back of my temple. She will stay there and I will stay here. The brothers agreed. Said, no problem. The brothers went to jihad. And Barsīsā would cook some food for her and put the food outside his door and make her come out from her house, come all the way, grab her food and go back. Look how much he feared Allah. But what happened? He already opened the door. So this happened for some time. And Shaytan has plenty of time on his hands. No problem. Take your time, brother. Take your time. Until eventually, Shaytan comes to Barsīsā. He says, Barsīsā, don't you know that when you put the food outside, she has to come from her house, walk all the way to grab her food. And this is a fitna. People can see her. People can see her. So I think, Barsīsā, this is Sheikh Shaytan now, his friend. Sheikh, I think you should put the food on her doorstep. Makes logic sense? So Barsīsā cooks her food, goes to her door, knocks on her door and comes back. After some time, Barsīsā, Sheikh Shaytan says to Barsīsā, Barsīsā, she still has to open her door put the food inside the house. So this happened for some time, and the brothers took long. Now Shaytan says to Barsīsā, he says, Barsīsā, you know, it's been a long time. This woman has no one to talk to, no friend, nobody to socialize. Maybe you should talk to her. Otherwise she will go outside and, Allahu Alam, cause fitna outside. For the sake of Allah, not from, no, brother, for the sake of Allah. So Barsīsā now, he goes to the house. Look, he still fears Allah. From outside the house, he's talking to her, shouting, and she can't hear him properly. And after some time, Shaytan says, Barsīsā, why are you embarrassing yourself? You're screaming and shouting. Go inside the house and speak to her there.
No, at the beginning, Barsīsā is resisting. This is haram. No, I can't disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. This will open other doors. But at the end, Barsīsā gave in. And then he sat down with her. And then he looked at her. First, there was no contact. Second, he heard her voice. Third, he looked at her. But a'udhu billah, I can't touch. A'udhu billah, I can't do anything that's haram. He just looked at her and walked away. And all night thinking about this beautiful face and this sweet voice of this poor lady, that she has no one to protect her, no one to look after her. And then Barsīsā started to think about it. You know what? I need to engage with her more. Maybe she needs something. Maybe she's shy for her to tell me what she needs. Let me sit down with her more and more.
My brothers, after some time, he started speaking to her inside the house. What was a little conversation became a longer one. After talking, now he wants to see. After seeing, he now started to touch. And after touching, the great Barsīsā committed zina.
Barsīsā, the man of righteousness and piety, now commits haram, zina, wal-'iyadhu billah. Yes, he did. And not only that, she fell pregnant. This is a disaster for Barsīsā. Barsīsā is the man with the reputation. He's the man of honor and respect. People flock to Barsīsā from far away just to check up on Barsīsā, or even speak to Barsīsā and seek advice from Barsīsā. Now Barsīsā is that criminal that had committed the haram. Now Barsīsā is thinking about it. This lady is a sister of righteous people, and she's pregnant. And if her brothers come back and find out, they're going to say, where did this child come from? Shaytan is telling Barsīsā, what are you going to do, Barsīsā? You've been working so hard to earn a very good reputation. Now you've destroyed it. Once these brothers come back and they'll find out what you've done, you're gone. It's the end of you.
How many of us, maybe we have not committed zina, but we fell in the same footsteps of Barsīsā. Now he's committed zina. She falls pregnant. She gives birth to a baby boy. And Shaytan now comes to Barsīsā, says, Barsīsā, bro, if the brothers come back and see this young boy, and you were the one who was responsible for looking after him, how will you explain the boy? Now he's worried. He says, what do I do? He says, Barsīsā, you have to kill the boy. You have to get rid of the evidence. So Barsīsā kills the boy. What do we have now? Zina and murder. After some time, Sheik comes back. Says, Barsīsā, do you really think she's going to keep quiet about what happened? Do you really think she's not going to tell her brothers about what took place here? He says, what do I do? Kill her too? Zina and double murder. The brothers come back. Barsīsā, where is our sister? He says to them, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Your sister, she became very ill, and Allah took her life. Barsīsā is a great abid, big sheikh. He does not lie. He says to the brothers, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Your sister, she became very sick, and Allah took her life. The brothers had no other option. They said, where is she? He showed them a fictitious grave, a fake grave. He said, this is where she is. They made some dua for her and went home.
It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine destiny here, so we have to adhere to that. We can't object. If Allah Azza wa Jalla wanted our sister to die from an illness, then let it be. But that night, they slept. And they had a vision, they had a dream. And subhanallah, amazingly, and by coincidence, each one of them had the exact same dream. What was that dream? Each one of them saw in their dreams that their sister was buried at a particular place with a baby next to her. The following morning, the older brother wanted to mention this to his two other brothers, but he was hesitant. You know, it's not a nice dream for you to even relate or even mention to your brothers. So he said, look, I saw this dream yesterday, but I'm just reluctant, hesitant to share it with you. So they said, no, please, because we also saw something very disturbing, but we were also reluctant and hesitant to mention it to you.
He says, I seen in my dream that our sister was not sick. Rather, she felt pregnant, she had a boy, and her and the kid were murdered. And I seen that she was not buried where he showed us, but she was buried somewhere else.
The second one seconded it, and he said, you know what? Yes, I saw the exact same dream. And the third one said, yes, that's exactly what I saw. Come on, that can't be by coincidence. There's got to be something from behind this.
They went to where they seen in their dream, they dug up that grave there, they found their sister and the baby there. They went back to Barsīsā, they said, Barsīsā, you lied to us.
Don't lie, say the truth. So Barsīsā gave in and he said, look, I'll be honest with you, that's what happened. 1, 2, 3. I interacted with her unlawfully. I committed the zina with her. She fell pregnant. I was afraid and petrified. When you return, you find out what I've done. I've got a reputation for me to preserve and protect, and I had to do this action. Well, you have to pay the price. Go to the judge, go to the ruler. Well, his judgment is, and the verdict, retaliation. You killed, you get killed in return. Now Barsīsā stuck. He got himself in a very deep and ugly mess.
So now they're taking Barsīsā where? To the ruler. Now on the way, Barsīsā is looking at himself, he's thinking, how did I get in this mess? Zina, double murder, and now I'm going to be executed. So when they bring him to the ruler, Shaytan comes to Barsīsā in the form of man. He says, Barsīsā, do you know who I am? He says, no. He says, Barsīsā, I am Shaytan, and I am the one who caused you all this mess, and I'm also the one that can get you out. What did we say before? Shaytan will come to you when? At the moment of? And what will he give you, 50%? 100%. And Barsīsā, was he what? Was he someone that was an ordinary person? What was he? Alim, Abid, he was a scholar. He was a righteous man. But because he opened the door to Shaytan once, and he didn't open the door, he had a peep. He says, Barsīsā, I can get you out, man. I have a lifeline for you, Barsīsā. He says, anything, get me out of it.
So Barsīsā said, please, anything but to come out of this mess. He said, subject to one condition. You do one thing for me and I'll take you out of this mess. Barsīsā is in the situation you could imagine. And at the end of the day, it's not Shaytan that put him in that mess. He put himself in that mess with his own actions. You can't blame the Shaytan, you blame yourself. So Barsīsā said, yes, please take me out of this mess. Look what I got myself in. Please take me out of this mess. So he said, do one thing for me and I'll take you out of this mess. What is it? He said, prostrate to me. Make sajda for me and I'll take you out of this mess. Barsīsā thinking about it. I'm going to make sajda to the enemy of Allah and the enemy of Islam. I'm going to make sajda to this creation of Allah Azza wa Jalla. What happened to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But thinking about it, he's in a very, very deep mess that he needs to save himself. He needs to salvage his reputation here. So he thought about it and thought about it. He said, okay, I'll prostrate to you, but you'll take me out of this mess. So Shaytan said, rest assured that I'll take you out of this mess.
So Barsīsā, he makes sajda to him. And Sheikh Shaytan says, thank you very much. It was nice knowing you. Assalamu alaikum. And shortly after, he was crucified and killed. The last action in his life was what? Shirk, kufr to the highest level. How? From opening the door. When he opened the door, for whose sake did he open it? For the sake of Allah. But look at where he led him, my brother.
Shaytan, my brothers in Islam, drags you, tows you, step after step. From something small to something bigger to something major, and then it's the end of you. We all know the Shaytan. The Shaytan and the evilness of the Shaytan, that's something we all grew up with. But our problem is, why do we listen to the Shaytan? Why? When we all know the Shaytan wants to destroy us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.